syllogisms.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to avoid philosophy. I told you I was going to avoid philosophy.
Oh, that's what I wanted to ask.
Tell me.
Okay. The core fear for ones being corrupt and evil. Does that resonate with you?
Yeah, the language that hits me is fearing blame.
Because it's like, why? Yeah.
It's feeling dysfunctional at some level. So here's the thing. If happiness for me is about execution, then of course the opposite is going to be something like I don't have the ability to execute.
And that would be because of something wrong with you?
Right. Yeah. So there's something flawed. There's something that is within me that needs repair. So I'm all about repair. I'm all about making things better. And if something is flawed within me, then like the source of repair itself is flawed. You know, the fire truck is on fire. And so you can't have a fire truck on fire. That's like that's disintegration.
Okay, but so again, back to the work then, right? There's something there, obviously, around building.
So I mean, a lot of so that again, I've mentioned a handful of times, a lot of my energy is going inward, whereas like in contrast, 6, 9s, 3s, your energy is going both inward and outward. You are both distrusting of what's within and distrusting of what's without.
It's not about me, Jeff.
Carry on. So with that in mind, imagine that the underlying feeling wasn't, anxiety, it's anger. And imagine that the only direction it was going was inward first. What are you going to get angry about? Well, you're going to get angry at whatever, like that's where the focus is. And so it's what are the perceived inadequacies and things that can be advanced? So say you turn 50, that's not something you can control. But what you can control is whether or not you're in the top
your grip
5%.
strength. Yeah. Gotta do some farmer carries.
That popped up on my chat as well. 90 seconds. Can you hang from the bar for 90 seconds?
We cannot. We have tried. Okay. Literally. We've timed each other. Mine. Oh, it's sad. That's one's really hard. It's so hard. Okay.
It's hard.
So what's the, if you're healed, okay, healed, integrated, whatever word we like.
Healthy.
What happens with that corrupted thing? Is the idea
yeah, it goes back to
that you don't think that anymore.
I've used the illustration a handful of times of like being on water skis and you're on glass, or you're flying. For me, like I'm a skier, so like I know what it's like to go 60 miles an hour with just a piece of plastic between my feet and the ground and not have any cares because I know everything is working. And that's at some level there's no flaws, and like that experience is kind of what's being chased.
I promised myself that I was not going to ever accidentally try to coach you in this conversation, and I'm doing a great job, but I almost did it. But
that's a good goal.
I know. I was like very firm about it for myself. Like, do not try to coach me.
No, I've realized this recently when I had another conversation with one is how often I bend into prescriptions. Like nearly everybody that we interview doesn't dialogue in prescribing what they ought to do. It's all like, here's how the world is. You describe things, very different ways of coming to the world. And I'm 1,000% prescriptions. So
say that again. So what do you mean? Like, what did I say that made you say that?
Well, when you're coaching, if you're coaching, then you're prescribing something.
No, you're not.
Sure.
That's a miss. Nope.
It's a value judgment.
This
is how you can make your life better. Oh, really? What's your target?
Separate conversation. Yeah.
You're just asking questions.
I used to coach that way, and let me tell you how well it worked. Not very.
So I suppose it's the case. If it were the case that you were coaching through questions and trying to get the person to unveil things, this is actually how the verbal processing works. In therapy, you're trying to get somebody to speak things about themselves or in life, and now it's out there. And once it's out there, they can take it back in through their intuitive center.
Well,
And that'd
I'm
be a
not going to
strategy.
say a bunch more words because we will go off on a whole
Perfect.
different topic. But just
What,
know I have
what else you
thoughts.
want to know about ones?
Okay. Yeah, exactly.
You're so self-controlled.
I'm so self-controlled. Yes. Gold star. Okay. An example of my one husband. We just
Uh-huh.
met up in the hallway. Both had to use the bathroom at the same time. I won the race. I hear him immediately saying, "Look at this wall. This wall needs love. It needs paint." And I
Hmm.
am just like, "What in the world?" He literally can't stand still for two
Yep.
seconds without noticing something that needs improvement.
So
Tell me why that is, Jeff.
I love I love time orientation stuff. So you will know what it's like to envision the things that are upcoming and to focus
Mm,
quite a bit on what's upcoming.
gosh.
I
Yes.
can't do that as easily. What I focus on is the thing that's right in front of me because body type that I am, I'm all in on the present. But unfortunately, I react to the present. And so that's an example of just being stuck in the present. So the neuroticism that you can see with ones comes out of that discomfort with the world all around them because they're only in the present moment. So if they're in stress, they can get into the past. If they're in security, they can get into the future. Otherwise, we're locked in this moment. So a lot of people will talk about how glorious it is to like you just need to be present. And half the time I'm
Oh,
like, kinda.
that's so interesting. Okay. There's just so many things to talk about.
It's,
Um, oh my gosh, yes. Everything is a rabbit hole
that's all right.
of interest.
Again, I got all the time. You can make it a two-parter.
I know. That's kind of what I'm worried about with this whole series is because I'm like, I have these great conversations and I'm like, oh, but now I need the next
Yeah.
level. Okay. Earning.
Yeah.
What does that mean to you? What's it look like?
I also need to get my head more around this because unlike twos and sixes, my aim isn't relational. So I could see how
It's
twos and
not
sixes
relational, but it is relational. This is what's confusing about ones because they're others oriented.
as a primary. Yeah. The others oriented I think may be a miss if I
Oh,
to 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 question orthodoxy.
yeah,
That
yes.
it's that what we have, and this again, Joey Shuey's language, which is coming out in the book next year. We have an external reference point. We are on the front lines. We are reacting to what's in front of us all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And where twos and sixes, where their happiness is based on connection
Mm-hmm.
and relational success, that's not what I'm reacting to. So I'm reacting to something else. And so the earning's going to kind of look a little different for me. The
Mm-hmm.
earning might be very internal. I
Mm-hmm.
can feel good because my calorie count is 1980 on average for the last week. And and I earned a feeling of joy. I earned
Oh,
like I'm able to hang on that bar for 75 seconds. I'm getting close to 90
is
seconds.
that
So
true? Because that's
that's
really a
right.
long time.
That's
That's impressive.
the,
That's a really
since
long.
I since I retired from ministry, that energy has to go somewhere. So I mean, like it goes like it's really unfortunate how much I work out now.
I mean, is
I'm
it?
just saying.
Okay. This is good. So you have to earn it's like you have to earn even your own sense of joy, your own sense of accomplishment. You're
Yeah,
like you can't just feel that way. You're not allowed.
yeah.
Like what if you just tried to create that feeling? What would be the mechanism that would stop that from
Well,
happening?
a lot of the things that I'm doing is trying to create that. So the earning is creating at some level. So
But it's like
it's
it's literally like giving yourself a it's like treating yourself kind of like a dog.
maybe checklists
Like I have to do
is
this so I can get this
yeah.
reward of joy. I have to do this so I can
You,
get this.
do you do checklists?
I I sometimes
Okay,
I'm not great at them, but I understand the idea that checking things off a
perfect.
list can feel good
For, I think for whatever reason, I think I have sixes and checklists in my head.
because it's
The
the stereotypical 60 thing. So
Yeah, but the sense of fulfillment and gratification of I cross this off. I mean, that's however it is. I mean, that is what I'm aiming at in large measure.
it's the
Along,
accomplishment, like you
yeah,
said, but yeah.
right. Happiness is found in executing and accomplishing the end in front of me. So,
It's just, do you think, I think this is just for all types, right? It's like there's some truth in our own self-deception, right? Because there's some, of course, there's truth in that. It's just for ones, maybe it gets
yeah.
over-indexed on a little bit.
So you had brought up the word of I don't know if you used the word health, but I wanted to use the word health. It was
Let's just use it. I hate it, but it's like whatever.
for me, health and happiness go
Uh-huh.
together. So happiness is
Hmm.
elusive and it's a very difficult concept. And
Hmm.
getting into that space where you can imagine what does happiness actually mean is important for us.
And there, as you're doing right there, you're
Yeah.
asking yourself to go into productive thinking.
Yeah.
You're asking a productive question that is
True.
going to not be so easy necessarily to just answer and be like, it's just such a, it's a much more, it's a less traveled road, let's say.
But if you're able to answer it with clarity, with real insight,
Hmm.
then you move from, it may feel like it's you're just a dog doing tricks. But
Hmm.
if I actually know what happiness is, I like that's in my view, that's what you're made for. So if I
Is
get what I'm
happiness.
is happiness.
So do you know the answer to the question for you, or have you
Oh
already
yeah.
answered it? It's getting stuff done.
Yeah. It- no, it's well, it would be more than that. I mean, I'm gonna drift way hard into philosophy if we get too far down this road, but the skinny would be something like I think happiness is tied to certain character traits that if you are
Oh.
a gracious, courageous,
Hmm.
moderate, wise, loving, faithful human being.
But what if you're like all those things plus a bunch of other stuff because you're a whole human being?
Well, what else are you?
Angry, judgmental,
Say, no,
sometimes
yeah,
lazy, short with people. Like, because you can be
uh-huh.
both of those verticals, right? There's a
So
leading question for you. Can't you?
yeah, this may circle back to the original one. Is what does earning look like? It looks
Yep.
like the virtues that you affirm
Yep.
as happiness producing
Hmm.
are given leverage over the vices you have that are
Well, and
not
then,
happiness producing.
right. But so then as a one, is it at all times? Like we always have to finish our sentences, I
Yeah.
think. Like, what is my subconscious actually saying is what's at the end of that sentence.
The so I had said that ones are very present oriented, but there is a 50,000 feet up perspective that
Hmm.
ones can shift into very easily. And
Hmm.
so the happy life is seen in one snapshot.
Hmm.
It's not moments. So am I steadily becoming a wiser person? Am I steadily becoming a more courageous person? Am I steadily becoming a more moderate person? That is the description in my view, not only of the good life, but the happy life, the well-lived life.
And how,
Those go
see,
together.
this, I don't even know how to ask questions at this point without coaching. How would you know, except for individual moments, that you were going that way? You know what I mean? Like, what's the
Yeah.
measuring stick?
I mean, at some point,
And maybe this is why we like the physical
yeah,
measuring sticks, because you
yeah,
actually can say, this week I can do this for 75 seconds, and next week I can, there's
yeah,
that real satisfaction. Whereas the things that you're describing are actually quite, you know, up for interpretation.
yeah. There's also I think my sense of self is going to be very intuitive.
Hmm.
And so to circle to the very first set of questions, how do you know? I know
Yeah.
it intuitively. So it's not necessarily like I have hit all the metrics. I have
Uh-huh.
exhibited 73 units of courage this week. It's going to be something else. It's going to be the sense. So like we started a church 20 years ago. It's last Sunday is going to be here in a couple weeks.
Oh, wow.
Looking at 2016, 2015 and 2016 and the choices we made to be actually very vocal about what we thought was going on in our country and in Christendom as a whole, I'm really proud of. Looking back at 2011 and 2012, we came out in support of queer relationships before Barack Obama, and we're
Mm.
in a very conservative area of Colorado. Those are things that I can look back on and say, I'm very proud that we made decisions of that sort. And that's seen from a certain vantage point, and it gives me a certain kind of satisfaction that's intuitive in nature. Like I can spit out the facts, but the feeling associated with the facts is what I'm chasing.
And you can create it by remembering that and telling that
Yeah.
story.
If I, at my healthiest, it's really hard
Yeah.
for me to assess through the past in the same way I imagine that you have a hard time remembering the past sometimes. It, right. So both of
But
us.
it's just good. I think it's good to find those places where it's like,
Yeah.
oh, but I can. Again, to me, that's bringing productive thinking into the realm, right? So automatically, that's very hard to access. But we're like,
Yeah,
but can we? How could I do that, right? Turning that productive thinking on. Like,
absolutely.
oh, actually.
So, like in terms of the circle, if I move into high side four space, that's a
Hmm.
place of restoration for me. That's a place of stability emotionally for me. And it's also a place where I'm getting into the past in a productive way that
Yes.
is invigorating. And so if I intentionally, when I'm not stressed out, go into four space,
Yes.
what happens is in four space, I'm shutting down my body. Shutting down my intuitive center and
Hmm.
my sense of needing to accomplish things. Because in four space, what I'm really doing is I'm amplifying the connection I have with my heart and my head. And I'm living in that combination because fours feel their thinking. That's the primary. And so being in that space, especially if I'm able to do the work to get in that space, remind myself who I am, remind myself of my purpose, my identity, the things that are beautiful, my place in the world. Um, these are all things that are like virtues for fours that I can access that are really helpful for me, especially when trying to restore my heart and perspective.
Man, that was well said.
Hmm, come on. And if
Yeah.
I would throw it back to you immediately and say, notice how this works for sixes, but
Yeah, but I don't want to do that because I want you to have that. You know what I mean? Like,
I do.
because when we're talking about like, what's the work, blah, 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 I think you just,
Yeah. I mean, that actually is for sure. Like some of the work is how do you get to your high side four space?
and my belief is
Yeah.
that we can do that in any given moment. Like, I really believe that all we have are
Hmm.
the moments of our life.
Yeah.
So, what do we want to create in each moment?
Hmm.
And I just feel like you just described that for once, like really beautifully. And it's not to live there all the time, it's to know that we can. And it actually isn't through
Yeah.
accomplished chasing all the earning, it's through what you just said.
At times. I mean,
That we can do it sometimes,
yeah.
not because we're
Yeah.
never supposed to live
Right. There you go.
in our whatever place. But if we don't know we can access it and we don't know how to, that's what I think the work is, right? So, like for a six, like to actually know that you can access your accomplishments, access what you're good at,
Hmm. Hmm.
trust that you can handle life as it comes, experience that feeling of sturdy centeredness.
Hmm.
Every six can do that.
Yeah. That's a great way to describe the
And
three move.
so everyone can do what you just described, not so
Yeah.
then you go live there forever, but
Correct.
because you should get that feeling sometimes.
Yeah. No,
And yeah,
your security move and your stress move, those aren't homes that you should live in.
right.
You should live in your healthiest, balanced center in your type, but you do need
Should
those
you,
tools.
Jeff? Is that what you
You
should
should,
do?
because the target is health and happiness, and this is a primary tool to get you there. The thing I've been thinking about this in terms of the Enneagram. The Enneagram's a map, but it doesn't tell you where to go unless you put your finger on it and say, this space that says happiness, that's where I want to go on the map. How do
But
I
this
get
is
to
where,
that
okay, this
space?
whole happiness thing is killing me because I really don't like happiness as a goal. Like fundamentally, I think it's a terrible word.
It's what you're made for.
No, I think we're made for meaning.
So will meaning make you happy?
No, it's satisfaction. To me, it's
Uh,
satisfaction is the
oh,
goal, not
really?
happiness. Happiness is like, I don't even know what it is.
I mean,
I don't like
satisfaction works.
it. It
As
works
I'm,
way better for me. It's just got more like meat to it. I like it a lot
fulf-
better.
Aristotle talks about happiness as fulfilling your function, and there's the living in that space. And
Hmm.
satisfaction is a great word for that.
Yeah. Okay, let's see if I have any particular questions. This is going great. I'm very satisfied with our conversation thus far. Okay. What's it like when something's really important to you and people don't think it matters? Do you know that? Do you know what I mean?
It depends. I mean, there are places where this is where my intuitive justice oriented side comes up. Some things are need to be advocated for. So unfortunately, I send a lot of pictures of, I don't know how to say this. I send a lot of pictures of dead 6 year olds from Gaza to people because this is unacceptable.
Hmm.
And that isn't the reason it matters is because of, unfortunately or fortunately, you are a citizen of the most powerful political entity that's ever been created, and that means that you have duties as a citizen. And so that's, I suppose, what that looks like is I get very animated about some things that I think we need to care about. So that would be an example. And
So
I've,
for a
and yeah,
six to do that,
uh-huh.
is this like I'm gonna see the picture, I'm gonna feel dysregulated, upset, grievous,
Hmm.
horrified, all the things. And I want it's back to the emotions versus the intuition, which is what I want to draw on a little bit here because I have the like, we all need to see this, right? So
Hmm.
something is a big deal to me right now.
Hmm.
I need to draw people in to like see this with me.
Hmm.
And then to be really transparent as a six, because I want someone else to fix it, right? I don't want it. I'm like, we need
Yeah.
to see this so then you can fix it, right?
Yeah.
That's
There you go.
okay.
Yeah.
Ver-
My brain works
Differently.
systemically. Yeah.
So it's like so someone's like, I don't see this. And you're like, you need to see it because it's wrong? Like, is that the bottom?
Both
Or-
because I do want other people to see, and to, there are some injustices that I feel like we ought to have certain emotional responses to.
So big emotions are right when they're correct, which we've kind of touched on already. Like there
Yeah.
are, yeah.
I'm trying to put my thumb on this. Like like in part, so my mind goes to systemic solutions to big problems. So why is it the case that this is happening systemically? How does the system get changed in order to alter
Mm.
these outcomes?
Mm-hmm.
You are a citizen of the United States. You are part of the system that is
Mm-hmm.
allowing said tragedies to go forward.
Mm-hmm.
If we collectively have kind of a wave of energy saying this is abhorrent, then of all things, it actually can change.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I kind of, so the same in trying to convince folks in my family to have different political views than they have, like their vote isn't going to matter. They live in California, but
Mm-hmm.
it's still the case that, like, I think I'm kind of testing the waters at some level as well. Like I want you to have similar value judgments to me. So I mean,
Mm.
I think a lot of ones are that way and they're evangelists at this level. You know,
Mm.
I need you to believe certain things morally like I believe. This is not necessarily a good thing. It can be a good thing, I suppose, but it can also be a
Well,
really
it
bad thing.
can't
So
because they're on all both sides. Like this is
yeah.
herein lies
Yeah.
the
No,
problem.
it's exactly right. So then it becomes the question like what should you believe about this?
Right.
So because I mean, just because a one, one advocates for Martin Luther King Jr. and his um, you know, goals, and one advocates for Southern segregation.
Exactly.
I mean, there, in my
Exactly.
view,
And this is
one,
where ones,
yeah,
right? And this is, it's like you're not right because there's some other person who knows they're right who literally believes differently than you.
they do, but they're like, it would be there would be a new question of I'm trying to avoid saying who
Just say
is
it though, because this
correct?
we're trying to reveal the internal
Yeah,
structure of one, right? We're not
who,
actually trying to do
yeah,
anything else, believe it or not. So
who who is right in that situation? And this is, I mean, part of the intuitive coming to the world of saying this how things ought to be. It's so core. But like if there was one who's arguing for Southern segregation, like what I would want to do then is kind of what we were saying at
let
the
me bring this
beginning.
into a
Yeah,
more somewhere we can actually discuss it. Okay.
perfect.
So my husband and I have raised children together.
Uh-huh.
So we had his intuitions on parenting
Mm-hmm.
were not right in
How do
my
you how do you define right
because I'm
on
the
this
one who
front?
read all the fucking books and did all the things
Of
and
course you did.
consulted every damn expert. And
Yep.
then here he is just like feeling, you know,
Yeah.
how things should occur. Years on,
Hmm.
and I learned, thankfully, mercifully, learned the Enneagram, learned how to coach, like learned all these things.
Yeah.
And eventually, chip, chip, chipped away because I have skills.
Satisfying, isn't it?
Oh, I will tell you the most satisfying moment of my life was recent, where he goes, "Hey, Kristen, I just got to tell a coworker of his who has younger kids. I could cry about it. I'm not even joking because you can imagine what this took of how long. He said, I got to share with him everything you've taught me about parenting.
Mm,
And I got to share with him like all these things that he gets upset about, all these nitpicky things that he said, none of that matters. And it's all
yeah.
about the relationship with your kids. He's like, and it was this moment of like the last decade of my life coming home to roost in this moment because his intuitions to focus
Yeah.
on all the shit was wrong.
So apparently there was a right answer.
And now we're figuring it out. I mean, now we have teenagers, right? So it's like, how do you keep a relationship? Oh. But like, there was a right answer, or there was a respect enough in how I learned, first of all, to talk to
Uh-huh.
him, which that needed some work,
Of
I will just say.
course.
But then his willingness to let different things be right. Because now he's just as convinced, right, that the way he's doing it is
Yeah.
right. But it's different. So I don't know. What do you think about that? Like your
The
intuitions can change. This is what I'm saying.
absolutely true.
Yeah. So then how can you ever say that it's for sure right if we know they can shift over time?
It's a problem with value judgments at some level because we kind of said this before, but all value judgments come from your emotions and you're describing how that emotions are shifting. And so like what ethics ends up trying to do is to give some language for targets that are always like quote unquote the good, like what
And
are
I
we
buy
aiming
this
at? Yeah.
actually. I
Uh-huh.
I buy what you're selling.
Yeah.
But then I
I mean,
think ones that's something for ones to kind of keep in mind, maybe.
I'll tell you an example in our life was like, I feel like our culture really struggled with how to handle COVID.
We have not.
And while we're protecting everybody by keeping all of our kids at home, like to this day, as you probably know, like our the developmental damage done to an entire generation of students is really troubling. And I had very strong intuitions about how we ought to, as a society, handle. COVID, and I feel like I was really wrong,
Well,
and what do you do? So,
we live in
yeah.
Texas.
Uh-huh.
So my intuitions also were, it was not being done correctly,
Hmm.
but we also did a lot of travel up in Washington, Colorado, California at that time. And it was very clear to me they were
Hmm.
doing it wrong. And that
Yeah.
blew my liberal minded brain up in all kinds of ways. Exactly
Yeah.
to your point. Yeah, exactly.
So we're the I so I think self-awareness for one's needs to be something of the sort that you're bringing up, that it's an unhealthy person who thinks that all of their moral judgments are always right all of the time. So, I mean, it's just wisdom to say, look, I may be wrong about this, but it's also the case that I need to decide whether or not to act in the world in a certain way. Like I can't not act. So that's
Yes.
that's being a human at at an ethical level.
And that's where sixes, to use that example, can just
Yeah.
fall down, is
Right.
I'm not going to bring my agency to the world,
Right. Correct.
which
Yeah.
is not a good idea.
Yeah. So at the end
But
of the day,
to say
yeah.
I'm doing it and I could be wrong is just also, it's just true.
Yeah. So in my view, what if I'm doing, I understand that I might be wrong in my moral judgments. And so part of me being a responsible, good human being means I need to read widely. I need
Mm.
to consult people who are experts. I need to think deeply about what matters most. And I need to come to the world with a posture of that sort. That's not necessarily the case with a lot of ones. There's a lot of ready, fire, aim going on in my
Oh,
tribe,
totally.
which you've never seen.
Totally. And
And
a lot
so,
of, oh, how
yeah.
would that be for sixes? It's a lot of aim something and then no fire or like a
Yeah.
misfire.
The- In the Civil War, some soldiers filled with anxiety would keep loading the gun over and over again. So there's like seven bullets, but that never gets fired.
Is that real?
It's real. And so, I mean,
Ah,
that might be a description of
that's hilarious.
it's
They're
ready,
probably
aim,
just
aim,
people were
aim,
bullet.
aim, aim, ready some more.
Oh, that's so
Um,
interesting. Okay, that was good. That was good. That's really interesting. Okay, I want to ask. This is what I meant. I wish I would have asked this earlier when we were talking about people being mad at you.
mhm,
So maybe you already answered it essentially. Maybe you've never experienced it. But how do you handle criticism,
poorly.
particularly if it feels unfair? Did you say poorly?
Yeah. When it feels unfair. So funny enough, I have a conundrum. So I got a 1 star on my book yesterday from
Dude.
somebody in Singapore, and they were a 5, and they wrote that Jeff doesn't even list objectivity as one of the gifts and virtues of 5s. He just focuses on assets. Well, if you flip to the gifts section of our book, the very first gift we list is objectivity, and I took a picture for myself and I put the comment next to it, and I was like, this is funny. You should laugh at this. But I had to share it with other people because
Yeah.
again, here's the basketball. I got handed the basketball,
Yeah.
and it's anger
Yeah.
at this because
Because it's so
of what metrics.
unjust.
Well, and also that may affect my livelihood. A 1 star brings down the ranking of a book on a search engine and on Amazon and all the things. And
Happened on my podcast, so I did a whole
yeah.
podcast about it.
Part of productive thinking would be, how much does this matter? And my favorite one quote is from William James. It's, wisdom is the art of knowing what to overlook.
Yes. But there's also, I would say, and maybe you hate this, there's this like letting yourself go on the emotional journey. What I hear you saying is,
Yeah.
let's get our head right about this.
Yeah.
There's a
That's
right.
exactly
And
right.
I'm like, well, let yourself feel angry. That would be more
That would be
because
the
you'll get
difference.
there.
Yeah.
But there's a self-kindness to letting yourself feel the full range of whatever, trusting that you'll get there.
I think that that's a healthy way to be in the world.
I agree.
It also describes the coping style of sixes. So,
Well, no, it describes a healthy coping style of sixes. If
yeah,
because they
is you're
don't do
gonna
that.
you're gonna
They just
push into your emotions though. Yeah.
no, they absolutely do not want to push into their emotions. They want to blow off the steam of their emotions at someone else because there's a lack of awareness that there's actually all this emotionality to deal with. Because we fear the emotions. The emotions themselves are very scary and overwhelming.
Hmm.
So again, I coach similarly like actually own the emotions
Yeah.
and then go on that journey I just described. Because what sixes do is they blame the emotions on everything external. There's a lack of
Yep.
ownership over the churn and
I think there's theory wise, I think there's a high side and a low side to your coping style. So if you push into emotions as your problem solving way of being in the world, I think you're
mm-hmm,
describing that well. Like there's a
mm-hmm,
healthy way to problem solve as a six emotionally, and there's an unhealthy way to problem solve as a six emotionally. I feel like that would be
mm-hmm,
real similar with ones because so like some of the things that you're gonna see as some of the worst elements of ones would be in problem solving mode. As we
mm-hmm.
kind of said before, you are shutting down your emotions and you're getting very black and white in how your judgments are coming out.
Right.
And that would be kind of low side coping
Okay.
style.
I think I just figured out my Enneagram book.
Come on.
Because I think every single number has an emotion problem.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Talk about
anyway,
that. Okay. You got it.
yeah, because it's like every if we all if every adult, this is my should. Okay, this is my
Hmm.
freaking soapbox. If every adult
Hmm.
was emotionally healthy, then they would be actually utilizing their brains and maybe their intuitions to make choices and not just reacting to feelings they're not allowed to feel, feelings they, all these things. Anyway, that's
Hmm.
just one of my
Yeah.
major life theories. If everyone was emotionally well,
I'll tell you where so like just speaking of books, so our third book is just going to be on the three centers, but how we pivot to the three centers, and that's what
mhm,
stress and security moves really are, and that's what processing center ends up
yeah,
being. But it there you don't at one level you have emotions, but at another level you are your emotions. And like you can't if I as you kind of said before, if you divorce your emotions from yourself, you lack something core to your identity.
yeah,
But you also are your mind and your thinking.
right.
So you don't just have a mind, you are your mind.
Hmm.
And your ability to analyze your emotions is a relationship within you that's worth naming. And so what's taking place in that process of I'm thinking about my emotions and my emotions are responding to my thinking.
Or my
And
feeling.
yeah, and your feelings can actually respond to your feelings as well. Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
Yeah, like yes, my intuition, something might happen, and then I can have a feeling and then a thought. Like it's all
Yeah.
mirroring,
That's exactly it.
and but it's automatic. And so what
Yep.
we're talking about is actually noticing that automatic relationship and crafting one on purpose.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
So, so I would build on that in saying, like, you're bringing in intuitions as that third layer. So, Enneagram type at its core describes the chemistry that goes on within you in terms of this process of how
Yep.
does your mind relate to your emotions, which relate to your intuitions, and which one gets primacy and which one gets last shift.
Can
And
we
that is your type.
can we substitute doing for intuition? Is that kind of what we're talking about? Like, what
Yeah.
does all this make me want to do?
Yeah. I have always like I never really use the word doing. I think it because it's about response. But being
Mm,
a body type is how the world is coming into you, how you're interpreting things.
mm-hmm,
Your center of intelligence at the beginning doesn't have anything to do with, engaging the world. It's
mm-hmm,
about filtering the world and understanding the world. So I
mm,
understand the world through an intuitive mechanism. Now, I might engage the world through my body,
mm-hmm.
but that's a different, like, that is one of the centers, but that, I, it's really worth naming, how the process works. The
Yeah.
world comes into you, is filtered, digested, interpreted, and then you respond to it with certain targets. And that, we spend a lot of time. That's the first 6 chapters of our book, by the way. Like that is a huge process taking place within you in terms of your type.
Totally. Agreed. Has your sense of what's right evolved over your life?
Oh yeah. I mean, and I think this is how ones work a lot. Ones will describe more conversion experiences, I think, more than anyone else, maybe. Threes and sevens and eights may as well. Threes, sevens, and eights hit walls and then they decide to change. But one,
Mm.
but ones I think have, like, I've had just experiences where when your underlying system or philosophy fails, then you have to build an entirely new infrastructure for how you interpret the world. So there's a
Mm.
famous book from the about 50 years ago called The Structure of Scientific Revolutions. It's about what the author calls paradigm shifts. And that's what I experience. I experience like huge, like
Mm.
transformation for me looks like that. Like the entire way I'm coming to the world
Mm.
is different. So, like when I was in high school, I became a Christian. It, like fundamentally altered how I saw the world and the
Mm-hmm.
values that I brought to the world and how everything was interpreted. Went to graduate school and really gave that up, given a new system. 4 or 5 years after graduate school, I kind of returned, and it's like those big movements. But my experience of Enneagram was very much of this sort, where it was like it's a whole new framework for understanding
Mm.
myself and relationships and how I'm supposed to be in the world and how other people are supposed to be in the world that gave me much more empathy. Because, of
Mm.
course, everybody's supposed to be like me, would
Mm-hmm.
be a way that a lot of ones come to the world.
I
And,
think a lot of
and,
people are coming to the world that way.
and it's, and so Enneagram kind of gives
Mm.
you that, but especially with my kids, like what does it look like for my kids to thrive?
Yeah.
Enneagram gives me a framework that they don't need to be you, and yet they would still be healthy, as it were.
Mm. That's really good. Okay. How do you know when you like something? Person, place, thing. How do you how do you know that you like it?
It's I have a very, very severe radar for excellence.
Oh,
And so nature normally does this
yeah. Mm-hmm.
naturally.
I think there's, yes. Say more. Yes.
Uh, nature naturally
Because
is
it
excellent,
is perfect. Yes.
but I have a strong radar for the what I perceive to be the work that would be required for high levels of execution.
Mm.
And so I hold my, that would be kind of like, I feel that this my intuitive self, like my body feels good in certain spaces. Restaurants, I'm real picky about the seating and lighting in restaurants. Part of that is, again, kind of some of my own neurodivergent elements, but a lot of that I think is my oneness, feeling comfortable. And yeah, kind of that branches out to nearly everything. So like a lot of my judgments,
Mm-hmm.
especially from public servants, end up being of that sort, where are you doing your job excellently? So
That's a rough question.
or podcasts or movie. This is the primary reason that I asked you to do a podcast, is like this woman is warm, informed, asks stellar questions. She does this job well.
So it's like you like excellence, you like goodness.
Mhm.
So the things that you value, when you get near that, you're gonna have a like a resonance maybe?
Yeah, it's a joy that,
Yeah.
that's there, and it's an intuitive experience, and it's the delight. None of this is deductive. It's very intuitive.
Mm-hmm.
It's the delight at seeing the combinations come together and something, done, or watching a play that's
Oh.
excellently acted, crafted, written. The dialogue hits you emotionally. The movements are clear. That.
Does it make you emotional? Like I totally have the like, oh my gosh, so many things that are just right. Like I cry.
Yeah, yeah,
Like a drum line.
Yeah.
Just. Oh.
Yeah.
Is there anything that's like a burning desire for you about ones that you want to share?
I think getting away from the perfectionist moniker, it can be healthy. I actually think
For
ones
you
can
or for the Enneagram
for
culture?
for ones. Is it
Okay.
that's what you're asking me, yeah? Was well, I mean, I suppose for Enneagram culture as well.
I really, really am bothered by the perfectionist moniker, by the way,
Yeah.
because it especially for sixes, it can really confuse them because they have
Hmm.
such a perfectionistic streak. It's just motivated very
Yeah, there you
differently.
go. Right?
So many people have like an inner critic. So that whole thing, I'm just like, that's dumb.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe here's a good closing question. So since we know everyone has an inner critic,
Hmm.
what would you call it for once? What would you say to like make it distinct?
So I think it's much more helpful to talk about your underlying feeling and its direction. And
Yeah.
that's where when I come to language for inner criticism, it's much better, I think, to unpack what's actually taking place. And what's taking place is you want agency as a primary, your body type, and your underlying feeling goes inward first. That is a more of a diagnosis than saying you need to tell, call your inner critic Al and tell Al to take a hike.
But you should tell
That
them to take a
that
hike.
well, that may work, but it's not diagnosing what's going on.
What does that mean? That what did you say? That the feeling goes inward first.
So really important to, and this again in Riso Hudson's book, and it's in our book, but um, twos, fives, and eights
Hmm.
think the problem is out there. Ones,
Hmm.
fours, and sevens think the problem is in here, and then three, sixes, and nines think the problem is both ways.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Knowing how the direction works, these are the affect groups, but knowing the direction, how the direction works when paired with your underlying feeling really, really
Okay. Because
matters.
that's confusing because as a one, you're obviously looking out and seeing all these problems.
Hmm.
But are you saying that happens next or
It happens next.
okay,
I see the problem and I ask, is it my fault?
which is familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah. So ones do that or whatever I am. Sixes do.
Yeah. So do you feel comfortable in the world? No. Well, what's going on inside of you that's messed up? It must be something severe. It probably needs attention right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have too much to think about now. That's what's happened. My brain is full. I'm like, oh, we've been talking for a
It's
long time also.
yeah.
Okay, so this has been amazing.
Thank you.
I really, really feel like I have a deeper understanding. And of course, my brain just wants to think about it. So, well, I'm gonna do that. Other people are gonna receive this however they receive it.
I think conversations of this sort trying to push into it's not basic because these are advanced topics, but
It's true.
it's oftentimes unspoken topics. Like I've recently become very aware that nobody knows about the emotional life of nines. It's
Well, they
never.
will after they hear my
I
conversation with
sh
TJ.
I sure hope so.
I think we did a really good job with it.
Uh,
I mean, just because he shared so much. We'll see. I'll be very interested in your thoughts about that conversation.
Good. So there are some points that are just hidden and we don't see them,
And we don't know how to talk about them, I
and
think,
we don't
too.
know how to
Like they're
talk about
just
them.
not being talked about
Yeah. There's a place.
correctly.
So in my one-star review, the gentleman said that like what criticism was that I was changing all the language and vocabulary, and in part I want to say yeah, because it we need to come to the material with fresh glasses and fresh language to bring out the life here and which can get missed in if you like anytime you get an orthodoxy
Hmm.
it has the temptation of becoming very stale. And so we are on the edge, Enneagram wise, of things kind of blowing open, in my view, on those fronts. That we're gonna start adjusting the language and talking about old things with fresh
In
descriptions.
ways that make it more accessible, is what I hear you
Hopefully,
saying. Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people can get really confusing. So hopefully, you need good teachers, I suppose. But which is why we're listening to Kristin. She's going to bring out the goodness here.
Yeah, but it's cool because it's not me teaching. That's what's so great about it. It's everyone teaching their own deal.
There you go.
All right.
That's
okay.
the formula. That's the secret sauce right there.
Thanks, Jeff. Talk soon.
All right. See ya.
Bye.